Hi everybody, welcome to the garage. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. How are you, Peter?
I'm very well, thanks, Jeremy. How about you?
Did you have a good birthday?
Yes, yeah, I
Good.
had lunch with some friends and had a nice roast chicken. It was nice, all good.
Good. I don't celebrate them anymore, I tolerate them.
Yeah, well,
It's all you can do, I think. Anyway, it's almost Christmas. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Apart from Christmas, indeed, the thing I love most about this time of the year is the fantastic display that the Jacarandas put on. Don't know where you are, I don't know if you have Jacarandas. They're better in a more humid climate, I know that. They flower better up north coast of New South Wales. There are about a dozen, well, no, probably more than 2 dozen streets here in Adelaide where many years ago they had the good sense to choose as street trees the jacaranda. And when you, as far as the eye can see, look down an avenue of flowering jacarandas, it is breathtaking. Just beautiful. But if you really want to see something spectacular, absolutely stunning, visit Grafton, north coast New South Wales, about this time of the year. It's a tourist attraction, and they call it the Grafton Jacaranda Festival. All the street trees in full flower, meeting over the road. And what you end up with is a purple tunnel. It's just beautiful. And even when the flowers start to fall, you have a purple carpet on the ground. Anyway, I wish I knew more about gardening, but I don't. I plant ivy. It's about the only thing it can. And look, some of these crazy people have declared war on ivy. I must talk to you on Friday about that. It is day 1001 of the Russian-Ukraine war, which I hope is coming to a conclusion. War is a terrible thing. Do you see that life-affirming granny who at the age of 90 went skydiving? Do you see that, Pete?
yes, I did.
I love her. She says she wouldn't do it again, but she did do it. Oh boy. Figures for the year show that inflation is slowing, definitely trending down, making it slightly more likely that the Reserve Bank could cut interest rates next meeting, but I don't think they will. Complicating the issue of the unemployment figures, which remain steady at about 4.1. Now, the RBA would like that figure to be higher. I can't imagine anyone wanting more people to be out of work. You know, the closer you get to full employment, the hotter the economy. You know, it's hard to understand, isn't it? But I would say this, that 4.35% interest, which is the rate at the moment, is not historically high. Now, if you have an issue with me saying that, because people do argue with me about that, I've lived through, 18% for a home loan and in the Keating era, 22% for a business loan. It's funny, Bitcoin is up 30%. I don't understand Bitcoin. Maybe somebody can ring me on Friday and tell me about Bitcoin. Maybe the world has gone mad. The Treasurer announced yesterday that it would be law that when it comes to groceries, pharmaceuticals and fuel, in other words, the essentials, shops will have to take cash. What nonsense. I thought they had to take cash anyway. It's legal tender. What happened to cash is king? why would you be in business? How would you be in business if you didn't want or like to take cash for whatever it is you were providing or selling? And oh yes, incorporated in the same discussion was cheques will be gone completely by the end of the decade. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because that's how I pay everything. I just won't go to internet banking. I don't know. So if I owe you something, I had better send you a cheque before cheques are finished, because I don't know. You know, people don't take cash. Cheques are finished. What's happening to the world? Good question. Our Prime Minister and APEC met in Lima, Peru last week. Lima, who gave us the Lima Declaration, very socialist country, Lima. Peru. Lima's the city. The Lima Declaration. I've spoken to you about it before. This is the thing that gave away our manufacturing industry that people these days don't remember, thanks to the Whitlam Labor government of 1975. Please, I say to the government today, shut up and don't sign away any more of this country. This meeting in Lima was dominated by, this is the one that's just been, come and gone, dominated by two things, which are strangely and surreptitiously linked. Trade, free trade, and climate change. Both trade and climate change are both about a massive redistribution of global wealth. Anthony Albanese and many of these APEC people are socialists. Socialism is communism with a smile. The troubles with which we are wrestling at the moment, ironically, began in Lima, Peru, back in 1975. And again, ironically, with a Labour Prime Minister, Gough Whitlam. Back then, China was a struggling peasant economy. Willfully, Whitlam signed away Australia's manufacturing industries with the knowledge, well, yes, with the knowledge, but more importantly, with the support of the trade union movement. Labour exported, with the approval of the trade union movement, millions of jobs to support poorer third world countries. That's what he and the unions signed us up to. You can look it up. In fact, if you want to do that, you can just Google the question, what can you tell me about the Lima Declaration? There you will see it all. All of this was done right under the nose of the media. It seems so benign, helping out these poorer countries. The Lima Declaration. Anyway, it's too late to do anything about that. That Whitlam treachery has come and gone. But we can do something about the current Labour Prime Minister. I beg the popular media to get onto this ahead of the upcoming election. Anthony Albanese is constantly telling us he will do what is in the interests of Australia. I think he says, I will always do what is in the best interests of Australia. Rubbish. He is a globalist. You only have to look at how much time he spends travelling the world. From Lima last week on to Rio this week for the G20. Talking and strutting the world stage. He loves it. But back to the main story. Tariffs are an obvious way for countries to protect manufacturing and jobs. Of course, third world or emerging countries can make things more cheaply, lower wages, lower costs. We cannot compete without reducing our standard of living. We either establish trade barriers, tariffs, to make those imported goods more expensive, or we have to cut local wages and destroy our standard of living. It is that simple. We, or more correctly, Whitlam, created the manufacturing, trading monster that is China today. And please note, China describes itself not as a first world, but as an emerging economy. God help us when it is fully emerged. Amazing stuff. The trade union movement, presumably, is there to support, protect, and represent the workers. They, of course, do no such thing. They, like the media, on this are a disgrace. Do your jobs. Ask the questions. They must be able to see what's going on. And the same goes for climate change. It's not about cooling the planet. It's about forcing first world countries to pay billions of dollars to third world countries. Compensation, reparations. For what? The 75 Lima Declaration was about giving those poorer countries industry and trade. This Lima Declaration agreement, seminar, whatever the hell it was about hard currency. The United Nations socialist ideal of redistribution of wealth and power there for everyone to see. But strangely, it goes unnoticed. There in the thick of it is Anthony Albanese from the socialist left faction of the Labour Party, saying he will always do what is in the interests of Australia, while he does the exact opposite. And the media looks the other way. When Trump promotes America first, of course he's right and popular, because he's right, and the people know it. We should do the same. I hope the coalition has learned some lessons from the Americans. Put Australia first. There is nothing wrong with self-interest. These guys are elected to look after us, not the world. Electing a government who wants to take care of the world, and that goes for trade and emissions, is madness. Madness. We, like the Americans, have no obligation to protect other people's standard of living. But we do have an obligation to protect our industry and our workers. And that means tariffs. And as for global warming, there's absolutely no argument. Australia's emissions are next to nothing. Listen, fellas, there's nothing to fix. This government is nuts to increase everyone's cost of living, boosting inflation, imposing the most expensive electricity prices in the world upon us to achieve absolutely nothing. It's just like The Voice. It's Labor's arrogant ideological agenda. The most obvious example of which is this three flags thing. Every minister stands up there, including the Prime Minister. It's all around the place. Three flags. We were never consulted about that. I think there is a thing called the Flag Act. I don't know if it's in breach of the Flag Act. I don't know. Somebody with a wiser head than mine might know. There it is. In their mind, on display as well, we are not one nation. The Aboriginal flag, the Torres Strait Islander flag are equal to the Australian flag. And they are not. And they should go. We need one flag. We need a government who understands and promotes a united Australia. One people. Black, white, pink, brown, yellow, whatever colour we come in. Men, women, straight, gay. Government should be colourblind and disinterested in our sexuality. We should be united under one flag, the Australian flag. I reckon it's a safe bet, that under Trump the Americans will stop subsidising alternative energy. That's the only thing that's holding up that industry, by the way, there and here. Same goes for Australia. The whole thing is a publicly funded con. We are in for an interesting ride, ladies and gentlemen. And I love the idea that President Trump has appointed Musk to put a dose of salts through the place. The Office of Government Efficiency. Yay! Cut the red tape, trim the bureaucracy, root out corruption, nepotism, and unnecessary regulation. Streamline the thing. Make it work smoothly. Oil the wheels. Get the blockage out of the S-bend. This is exactly what we need here. We have an ever-growing public service, on average 6% a year. Did you know that? Pete, 6% a year.
I didn't know that, but it's frightening.
Yeah, Albanese spent $5 billion in just 12 months increasing the size of the public service. The Libs had put a limit or a ceiling on increasing the public service, but Labor removed it. So there you go. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We had a problem printing out the dates, ladies and gentlemen. So I've got them on Caroline's. Can't remember the code. That'll do. Yeah, I've got them here on Caroline's iPad. Well, some of them anyway. Just a quick look, because we're out of time anyway. It's November the 19th, as I said, day 1001 of the Crimean Russian War. 1872, E.D. Barber of Boston is awarded the first US patent for the calculator, the very first calculator, adding machine, capable of printing totals and subtotals. 18. Yet the Chinese had, centuries before that, they had the abacus, which people still use. I don't understand how the abacus works, but apparently it's wonderful. 1959, the first episode of Jay Ward's cartoon series, Rocky and His Friends, featuring Rocket J, shortened to Rocky, Rocky J Squirrel, and Bullwinkle J Moose. Aha! Oh, I love that. Rocky and Bullwinkle, yeah. So amazing minds to come up with these things. Very clever. 1911, New York receives the first Marconi wireless transmission from Italy. I don't know why that happened or why that was important. 1985, US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev meet for the first time. Tear down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev. And he did. Took a while, but he did. 1916, Samuel Goldfish, Edgar and Archibald Selwyn established Hollywood's Goldwyn Pictures. Goldfish later changed his name to Goldwyn. What else happened? 1959, Ford Motors cancels its poorly received Edsel model. Well, it wasn't poorly received. It was totally embarrassing. Yes, the Edsel. worked its way into automotive folklore, did the Edsel. Maybe they're kind of collectible now. I don't know if any of them are still around. 1917, Indira Gandhi, fourth Prime Minister of India, is born. 1996, the case of the Port Arthur massacre comes to trial. Jodie Foster, the actress, is born. 1962. I've got ties older than that. Anyway, Silence of the Lambs and a whole lot of other things she did. Very clever lady. 1620, the Mayflower reaches Cape Cod and explores the coast. That was 1620. 1805, Lewis and Clark expedition, led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, reached the Pacific Ocean, first Europeans to cross the West. Larry King, American radio and TV host, born in New York City. He died in 2021, but he was born in 1933. Had a wonderful voice. Wonderful voice. 1863, US President Abraham Lincoln, one of my favourites, delivers his famous Gettysburg Address, which began, fourscore and 7 years ago. And it is regarded, I think, broadly, as one of the best speeches, political speeches, any politician has ever made. It wasn't long. It was a couple of hundred words. But the interesting thing about it was, the next day, the Chicago Tribune, why the Chicago Tribune, I don't know, but they published the most scathing criticism of it. Called it everything you could think of. Weak, mealy-mouthed, unconvincing, disappointing. That was the day after. Yet all these years after, it's regarded as nothing short of brilliance. Brilliant oratory. I'll give you one more. Actress Meg Ryan was born when Harry met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, Joe versus the Volcano. That was a weird movie. Born 1961. We will leave it there. Thank you very much on behalf of our sponsors, the Rising Sun Inn, Bridge Street at Kensington, and Elder Fine Art. Thank you for viewing, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. I don't know if you actually watch, but this posting comes on at 9 o'clock, but it doesn't matter when you watch it. We'll see you tomorrow. Peter and I will be back. Believe in yourself. From the Court of Public Opinion. Goodbye.